Ladies and gentlemen, the new Toyota Supra.
That's a Toyota? So why is it full of BMW parts then? Opel Ampera? Sure looks a lot like a Chevy Bolt to me. And don't even get me started on the Aston Martin Signet. Hey guys, I'm Stipe, and here are some cars that are not what you think they are. And while I'm at it, what exactly am I? 100% American? Well, thanks to MyHeritage, the sponsor of today's video, I guess we'll find out just how much of that is true. Anyway, they sent me this DNA kit box, which comes with some vials, some swab sticks, and some simple instructions. Basically, you take the stick, you put it in your mouth, you do the little swabbity-dabbity-dab, you know, get some spit on it, and then put it in this little tube. Screw it tight, mail it to MyHeritage, and wait a few days.
Several days later.
Okay, let's see what I'm made of. 86.8% East European? Okay. 8.2% Scandinavian. There's no records of that anywhere in my family. Not a big deal there. And then Baltic. Okay, so we got some Baltic, got Scandinavian, Finnish. What? No, not a chance. Okay, this is freaking me out a little bit. And what's this? These are my cousins? There's pages. Man, I think Great Granny has some explaining to do. Anyway, if you too want to find out where you come from, well, you're in luck, my friend. MyHeritage has a promotion going on right now. By using this promo code, you'll get a discount and free shipping for your DNA kit. And where do you use it? Just follow the link in the description or scan this QR code. But also, if DNA isn't your thing, MyHeritage allows you to build a family tree and learn all about your family history. Who knows? Might turn out that you're a descendant of Henry Ford himself. And don't worry about your data. MyHeritage has a commitment in its privacy policy to never sell or license genetic data. Okay, now let's get on with the video. Toyota GR Supra. To be honest, I was a bit surprised by the number of comments under my older video in which I called the A90 Supra a BMW. Like,
did he just call it a BMW?
Really? Don't these people know? Well then, allow me to explain. Drop some knowledge on ya. For starters, don't call it an A90. I get why you'd want to. The code names for the older generations were A50, 60, 70, and 80. So this one would be A90. But that it is not. It actually uses a BMW nomenclature and is, even in the Japanese brochure, referred to as the G29. Sorry, the J29. G29 is the Z4. And there's more. The chassis is BMW. All the engines, gearboxes, the interior, an entire interior is pure BMW, complete with the same key and the warning chimes too. Even the VIN tag, the vehicle identification sticker, will say that it's a BMW product. So how much more proof do you need? People say that the Supra and the Z4 were co-developed by the two companies, but I don't know, man. It just seems to me like the Japanese were just tagging along. Liar! Yes, they did the design, obviously, and they tuned the chassis to handle a little bit differently, and they tested each component to make sure the quality was up to the usual Toyota standards. But I'm sorry, if your car is built on a BMW assembly line and built out of BMW parts, then guess what? I'm calling it a BMW. Shelby Cobra is an iconic American sports car. Or is it? This whole debate whether the Cobra might actually be more British has been raging since the car was conceived back in the early 1960s. That's when an old British sports manufacturer called AC lost the engine supplier for their Ace model. Yep, that's the AC Ace. Looks familiar? Anyway, once Mr. Shelby heard about this, he approached them with, you know, I could get you some Ford V8s if you're interested. Sure, you'd need to modify the car slightly, but look at it this way. With such a muscle Ace, you get to stick it to Jaguar E-Type. Ford gets to stick it to Chevy Corvette, and I get to sell it in America.
My name's Carroll Shelby, and performance is my business.
But now, who gets to call it their own? Us Americans would say it's all Carroll's idea. AC just made the empty shells for him. All the Mark I, Mark II, Mark III changes were initiated by Carroll himself, and his racing efforts made it the icon that it is today. Meanwhile, the Brits would argue that they did most of the work. Empty shells are complete cars, just missing an engine. You don't call this a Mercedes just because it has a Mercedes V12. Besides, the same car was sold in Europe too, just with the AC badge on it. And we continue developing newer and newer generations well into the 21st century. Here's the latest 2024 model. So, British or American? I'll let you decide in the comments. Be sure to argue with someone dumber than you. Hennessy Venom GT is not a Hennessy Venom GT. If you look at the DMV registration documents, they say it's just, and I mean just, a modified Lotus Exige. Exige? Never mind that the Venom is still 98% all new with only a handful of parts carried over. Doors, windshield, tub, dash lights, head knobs, boobies, and wipers. Never mind that it's longer and wider and has twice the engine size. According to the government, that doesn't make it a new production car. There's no such thing as the Hennessy Venom GT, and that's the end of it. Which begs the question, why? In short, it's because it uses the Lotus tub. The Exige already passed all the expensive crash tests, so it made the financial sense for Hennessy to use its platform. But then, when they asked the government to bless their car with 100% road legal status while referencing to Lotus crash results, well... Also, choosing Lotus and not something else is not by pure accident. After reaching the maximum that could be extracted from the twin-turbo Viper, John Hennessy jokingly said, "Imagine that engine in something small, like a Lotus." Oh, how they laughed until it wasn't funny anymore. Sure, some stretching would be necessary, but such a car would be extremely light, extremely powerful, and because of the mid-engine layout, it would be easier to put all that power down on the road. Might even earn us some world records too, which it ultimately did. Still a Lotus though. Mad Mac P1. Okay, I know that Mad Mike Woodette is, as his name suggests, mad, but did he really have to sacrifice a hypercar royalty, the McLaren P1, just to turn it into a drift car? Sure, the coolest, craziest, most insane drift car ever, but still a P1? That's like butt-chucking Dom Perignon. Isn't that just a waste of a good bottle? What's more, instead of the McLaren's 1,000 horsepower space-age V8 hybrid, there's now a 1,000 horsepower Mazda's 20B tri-rotary engine, and it is hot! Spitting flames and melting the body so easily that some crude openings were cut out just to cool it down. And what to think of these two who gives a damn kinds of exhaust sticking out like some afterthought? My man Frank Stevenson spent years sculpting the perfection that is the P1, only to have Mikey Mike pull out an electric saw and just cut it up like it's a Christmas turkey. I don't know about you, but that just hurts to watch. But the good news is, no real P1s were harmed in the making of this car. The Mad Mac is actually a 650S GT3 dressed up in a P1 GTR body to look like a real deal, and then extra widened with a Rocket Bunny kit made solely just for this car. Whew, okay. Now I can appreciate it for what it really is. The craziest looking, most insane sounding smoke machine. Can people rent it for their wedding's first dance? Badge engineerings. Badge engineering is an old industry trick in which you take a car from another brand, put your badge on it, and sell it as yours for a bit of profit. It can be done well, like with the Dodge Hornet, which was actually an Alfa Romeo Tonale.
Same, but different.
Or it can also be done terribly, like when Dodge rebadged this Mitsubishi Galant and called it the Challenger. Oh, that's sacrilegious. So now I thought I could talk about a few more notable examples to show you just how far this badge engineering can really go. Ever heard of a Dodge Attitude? Me neither, but apparently it was a very popular Mexico-only model. Clearly it's just the Hyundai Ascent, with the laziest rebadge job ever, but it sold well, so Dodge did it again. New Ascent, new Attitude, except this time they didn't even bother to change the logos. Third time's the charm? Nope. Now they based it on a Mitsubishi Mirage. Listen, Dodge, Just make your own damn car. Clearly it sells. Another interesting example is the Fiat 124, also sold under this Say It brand, the Barat, Kirin, Kia, KPKK, Lada, Nasser, and the Premier. It's the most rebadged car in history, and with all those brands combined, it's the second most sold car in the world, right after the VW Beetle. Lastly, Toyota. They build just about every kind of vehicle in the world except for cargo vans. So they put their logos on this Stellantis trio and call them the Pro Ace. A2, Brute? A2? Chinese knockoffs. Despite the name of the topic, I seriously doubt that anyone would be fooled into thinking that this Chongqing 300, or however the hell you're supposed to read that, is a real Mercedes C-Class. It tries, it really does, but come on. And it's not the only one. Zoe SR9 is a knockoff Porsche. Geely GE is a fake man's Rolls Royce. And this Lifan 320 is a badly mangled Mini. I asked the designer of the original for a comment, and here's what he sent me.
Look really nice with my Porsche.
The Lambo Urus got badly copied. Both Range Rover and the smaller Evoque models too. The G-Class, Honda E, VW Up, Audi 6, and even something as mundane as a regular old Toyota Corolla. Come on, BYD, if you're gonna steal something, set your aspirations a bit higher. But my absolute favorite has to be this fake Cayman with the front end of a Ferrari Portofino. Honestly, have you ever seen anything built more badly than this? Naturally, you won't see these cars in the first world countries. Copyright laws do mean something after all, but also you won't see many of them in the future China either. That's because their car industry grew so fast and so rich that they don't need to steal from others anymore. Like, remember the fake Mercedes? That company now owns Volvo, Proton, Lynk & Co, Lotus, and are now the biggest shareholder of the Mercedes parent company, Daimler. Imagine that, from copying to owning. The BYD, which faked the Corolla, not only do they sell more EVs than Tesla, but are also the third most valuable car company in the world. Say what you want, but it's just a matter of time before you see Chinese cars on your streets too. And now, honorable mentions. Can you guess what these cars really are? And at number 1, here we go. iXam Ambition. This is not a car. I know it looks like one, but it isn't. What it is a four-wheel drive French moped. Think quadricycle with a little hatchback body on top. Or it could be a coupe, a crossover, a sporty-looking GTI, or an off-roader. And you can choose between internal combustion or electric motors. But the best thing about the iXam, in France, you don't even need a license to drive it, and the age limit is just 14. You started growing pubes? Here are your new keys, and bon voyage! Try not to kill anyone. Sure, these, as the EU calls them, L6E light quads, aren't too fast and aren't very limited by the stringent rules to be classified as such, but I still wouldn't want to get hit by some pimple-faced kid in a 1,000-pound car going 28 miles per hour even. Anyway, France isn't the only one. Other countries have similar laws too, and here are all the other obscure quad car manufacturers you've never heard about, and as of late, one you definitely did, Stellantis. These are their offerings: the Citroen Ami, the Opel Rocks E, and the one that no girl can resist, the Fiat Topolino. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Will we ever see these in America? Well, we already had something called the Neighborhood Electric Vehicle Class, the NEVs, but no, I can't imagine a nation that's buying more trucks than anything else suddenly switching the Ds, especially when many of us can't even fit inside. Ow. Anyway, that's all I have to say on this topic. Go check out that MyHeritage deal for the family, for yourself, from me, support the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.